You might recognize today's guest from the singing competition show The Four. Back in 2018, Vincint wowed audiences and judges with his powerful performance of Creep. I don't belong here. But that was just the beginning for the artist. Vincint is now using his platform to speak out in defense of queer rights. And today, he's opening up about the power behind feeling seen and heard. This is Advocate Now. Well, Vincint, thank you so much for joining me. Now, in February, you released a really fun, catchy new single, Romance. Tell me about the inspiration behind that song.
Thank you for having me. Romance is about finding out that someone that you really, really care about is being treated wrong and understanding that you could give them a better life and a better love if they gave you the chance.
How do you think that this song differs from some of your previous work?
Well, I'm not talking about being sad or heartbroken anymore, so that is a major difference from the past catalog.
Yeah, and in addition to your rising career as a musician, you've also been fearlessly outspoken in defense of the queer community. Why have you wanted to use your voice in this way?
Well, simply because I'm a part of that community. These are my people, and we are constantly under attack, even today more so than ever. And if I don't speak out, who's going to do it? I'm so tired of us being bullied and silenced and told that if we keep our mouths shut, then that's our place. And it's like, that's not it at all. We're human beings and we deserve respect.
Yeah, you recently shared a very powerful message with Out Magazine regarding attacks on the queer community. You talked about how the queer community is not the problem. The queer community just wants to simply exist. But, often when people have issues with others, there's usually an underlying issue or trigger within themselves that's being projected onto those other people. Why do you think that some people have such a difficult time recognizing that?
I think because emotional maturity and emotional consciousness isn't something that happens, especially in our country. So the idea of someone taking themselves and putting themselves first and loving themselves and being unabashedly themselves is triggering to some people because you don't know how to do that. You don't know how to look inside yourself and say, oh, this is who I want to be, or this is how I am. And I love that about me. And so when people see that, it's an immediate trigger, because what do you do when you don't know how to be yourself? You target others because that's the only other option of release for you. And so I think people get upset with us and bothered and triggered by us because we love ourselves so much that we refuse to be silenced. Stop attacking the queer community because we're not the problem. We've never been the problem. We've only ever wanted to exist and just be loved and be seen and be heard. We have children too. We have family members. We have nieces and nephews, sons and daughters. We have non-binary children in our community. They are always safe because we love them and we understand what it feels like to be hunted, talked about, and made fun of, and also murdered. We are not the issue. If you want to figure out how to fix things, you have to look at yourself and make sure that you understand that the problem comes from within.
And you've really stressed the importance and the value of being seen and being heard and how that can positively impact someone. Is that something that you hope that fans can feel through your music?
I hope so. I hope through my music and through things like this, when I talk, you're supposed to love yourself. You're supposed to give yourself grace and patience and glorify yourself every day, because that's our purpose here. We're only here for a little bit of time. And if we're going to be here, I refuse to be unhappy because of someone else's opinion.
On the flip side, have there been any artists in the queer community who you've looked up to and have helped you feel seen and heard and served as an inspiration for you?
Of course, there are so many. Billy Porter, Cyndi Lauper, Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey. These are all allies of our community. Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga. But then I have my friends who are artists: Betty Who, Parson James, The Boy Blue, Jared Gelman, Leland, J Hart. There are so many artists who speak so eloquently about our experience and what we go through in the world. And they do it in such a way where we're not the butt of the story and we're not the sad part of the story. It's like, no, we are an alive, beautiful community who deserves joy, love, and happiness, and we're fighting every day for it.
That inner self-love oftentimes doesn't come naturally. It's usually a journey and it's a fight to get there. But how did you reach that point? Or has it always come naturally for you?
It came naturally because of my family. I grew up in a very big family, and my parents were really, really good at understanding that if I was going to be happy, I had to be myself. And so it was never stressed in my house that I had to change who I was for anything. My mother would always say, I raised you. So when you leave this house, don't let anybody else raise you. You know what's good. And I think Maya Angelou's mother also said the same thing to her because I heard it in an interview a long time ago. But it's very true. I grew up in a community in a very, very loving home where who I was never in question. What I did was always in question because is it right or is it wrong? And you know what's right, so just do right. And right
Yeah.
is loving people, building them up and pouring into them, making sure that they feel seen and heard and loved. It's not about what you think someone else's experience should be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about that intention always coming from that positive intention and place of love. Now, you were a finalist on the singing competition show The Four back in 2018. You worked with Megan Trainor, Diddy, DJ Khaled. Any takeaways from that experience?
If anything, to be yourself. I mean, I sang Creep on that show because I felt out of place. There wasn't anyone else like me in the competition. There was no one else being talked about on television who was gay and who was dark skinned and who loved to sing and be an artist. And so that for me was a moment where I really got to shine and just show the world that who we are and what we represent is good enough. And hopefully it opens some doors for other people.
I always felt like you was the sleeper. When you got there, I was like, he gonna be the sleeper. He has some tricks up his sleeve. And you gave us that emotion, that commitment, that stillness, that poise, that superstar shine. This is the first time anybody's given me goosebumps.
You really have transformed as an artist over the past 5 years. But when you look back on that time, how do you think you've changed?
I think I'm a bit more comfortable with myself, which is funny because I was already really comfortable with me, but it took some years in just finding myself and really growing into my artistry and understanding that I could talk about whatever I wanted to because that's the job of an artist. And it's also to talk about the tough things and to advocate and make sure that, little plug, to make sure that what we do and say represents what we put out into the world. And so I wanted to make sure that I became the artist that I saw in my mind back then. And I think I'm on my journey there.
Yeah. And in terms of the future of music and that journey, where would you like to head from here? What would you like to create?
I think I'd like to create a community of musicians from our community that excel in the music world, excel in the art mediums that they want to pursue, and know that they have a safe space and a safe haven and someone they can turn to. I want to create a safeness for us because while we are so outspoken, there still feels like from time to time there aren't places where we could really be celebrated. And I am growing tired of that. And so I hope to change it.
And any dream collaborations, anyone on that list for 2023 and beyond?
I mean, literally everyone. Who doesn't want like a Beyonce collaboration, but like I'll be happy like being like the butler in the video because that's my dream. Yeah, I have a lot of aspirational goals. I would love to collab with some like Kim Petras and Adam Lambert and Omar Apollo, like people who I love, the music that I love. And so that is something that I really look forward to. But even if not, I'm just excited to be putting out music still.
Well, of course, on this show, we highlight causes that we're passionate about advocating for. Is there anything that you are advocating for at the moment?
For sure. It's still going to be the rights of the trans youth in this country. It's going to be stricter gun laws. It's going to be making sure that drag queens in this country feel safe and protected, the same way we want children to be safe and protected. I spoke a couple weeks ago to a different publication about this issue, and in the weeks following up to this interview, I have gotten the most amazing messages and also the most threatening messages. And even still, I want them to know that we will not stop talking about what we want to be seen, loved, heard, and also that we are just human beings who want to protect everyone that you want to protect. We just want to be loved and feel safe and have our families feel loved and safe too. So I will keep running my mouth about it until I can't run my mouth anymore.
Everybody check out Vincint's single Romance, which is available now. Vincint, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.
I'm Sonia Baghdadi. Thanks for watching and advocating. For more stories and content like this, visit advocate.com and advocatechannel.com.